Alright. Hey y'all, and welcome back. So, we're still missing 1, 2, 3 cutscenes. And we are still missing 1 vault, as well as 4 time trial relics. So we'll go on and see you all. Okay, come on. Over here at the end of Duel by the Dragon, so I can open the vault finally, now that we've beaten Clockwork. Alright, here we are.
Press the circle to enter the vault code. Multiple blood vessels burst in my brain while figuring this out. The code had better be 231.
2, 3, and 1. For the final page of the Thievius Thingus Raccamagoocus.
Amazing! Colonel Reed Cooper's time stopper technique. Press the triangle button and execute a flashbang that will stun all guards in the world for a few seconds. I can see how this might be useful and entertaining too.
So we obtained the last page of the Thingus Raccamagoocus.
At long last, the Thievius Raccoonus restored to its original state. The first time I held the whole thing under my arm since I was 8 years old. The same weight that all my ancestors had felt beneath their arms as they had passed it on. Although, while other family members may have been great thieves, they all inherited the book. I got a chance to earn it. I had taken down the Fiendish Five, having used the moves my ancestors taught me, and become a master thief along the way. The time had come for me to chronicle my own adventures into the great book. This is gonna be fun.
And we get some credits again.
You've done it, Sly! The Thievius Raccoonus is complete! Now, try beating all the Master Thief sprints to unlock the designer's commentary. Once you've unlocked them all, I've got a special behind-the-scenes movie to show you.
And that's what we'll be doing right now. As we've got the one more movie to unlock. So, let's head on in for the 4 final time trials. Starting with A Precarious Ascent. Like usual, showing just the first and the last. Maybe the first 2 or the last, and the last. You know, depending on how quickly I flub up the first one. Alright. Okay, we'll see you with the successful attempt. Okay, fucking really? It is down. Got it. Fucking finally. Jesus. That was about 15 minutes. Okay. 1 down, 3 to go. Next up, the unseen foe. Yeah, of course. Alright, we'll see you with this successful run. Alright, there we go. About another 15 minutes. But we got it. Just 2% more as we go through the Flaming Temple of Flame. Ah, come on, I hit you, dick. Okay. Sly, we ain't got fucking time for this shit. Alright, got it. 16 seconds left too, nice. And then there was one, as we sit on a sweet succulent 99%. Alright, Carmelita. Let's have one more joy run. Duel at the Dragon. So I waited there specifically so she wouldn't destroy the bridge, which is slightly quicker than letting her destroy the bridge and having to do those jumps across the pedestals. If only slightly. Oh shit, yeah. I always forget that you need to hit this thing with 3 fireworks. Okay. Well, hopefully that didn't fuck me over too much. Come on, Carmelita. Come on! I ain't got time for your shenanigans. I would do the roly-poly on this, but those little ledges are inclined. Which would make me just bounce all wrong. Alright, I think I got it. There we are. Well, not bad. I actually got that one.
Excellent, Sly.
What, first try, second try?
You've beaten all the Master Thief sprints and unlocked all the designer's commentary. Check out this fascinating behind-the-scenes movie.
How should I describe Sly Cooper?
He's charismatic,
Suave, debonair.
Cool, slick, fast, stealthy, athletic, just a daredevil.
Sly Cooper is charming thievery.
We started with the idea that we wanted to do an action game where the primary character was a thief. The choice of a raccoon was a pretty natural fit in terms of, you know, obviously the mask being in place, being, as Dev would say, a creature of the night.
We very early on wanted to make a game that looked and felt like a cartoon, but was one step closer to realism rather than flat and graphic. We started experimenting with different ways we could bring this character to life, cell shading, how to make it feel like a cartoon but still feel like a great 3D game.
We want it to actually look like it was inked and painted. And we want the backgrounds to be, you know, really lush and have a painted look, so it looks like it's a living animated episode that you've been thrown into.
When you look at the game, initially, the first thing that draws you in is the beautiful art style and lush, very, very lush look of the environments. But when you actually play the gameplay itself is lush as well.
The original conception of the Sly character was a much more realistic raccoon, chubby and not quite as lithe as the character is now, and it kind of evolved as we went along.
Once we got to that part where he kind of evolved into what he is now, my main job was to take him and try to put every bit of thiefiness into him that I could. He was kind of tiptoeing, and he's really like rearing back to like ease his foot forward, trying to keep all his weight back so his foot falls softly on the ground, and really try to hone his personality through subtleties in the movement and really try to push the thiefiness.
Is we wanted Sly to feel really agile. We wanted him to feel like Sly could do the most amazing physical feats. You want to let the player of the game feel like they're a thief. Not like a real thief, like you wish thieves were.
Sly Cooper's story is really cool. He comes from a long line of super raccoon thieves. And the source of their kind of thieving greatness is this book called the Thievius Raccoonus. It's this incredibly valuable heirloom that is stolen from Sly's family when he's very young.
He has come of age, and now he feels it's his noble duty to take back the Thievius Raccoonus.
Sly has two buddies, Bentley and Murray.
Bentley provides a lot of the plans for their missions. He does a lot of things that are very important for Sly to complete his missions. Murray has a huge case of Sly envy. He wants to be Sly in the worst possible way, and he has absolutely none of the capabilities to do it.
A hero's only as good as his villains. We wanted to create villains, you know, making them dangerous, making them menacing, making them goofy. Just giving them as much personality as Sly Cooper.
It's a super high bar being in the action-adventure category. I mean, all of the greatest games, the best games that are out there are all action-adventures.
The genre is such that you have to really excel in every single phase of the game. Going from saying Sly should be sneaky to actually having him feel sneaky in the game is hard. You have to start and you have to get the animation right, then you have to figure out how the engine's going to play the animation and how it gets affected by where he is and what he's doing and how the player can feel in control at the same time.
People are doing shoot-'em-ups and things with, you know, big weapons and things like that, and this is all about character, so you can get the feeling of, you know, I am Sly and I'm sneaking around. Anytime we can exploit anything in the environment, build it in a way that, you know, as Sly's running over, it might seem more stealthy. We completely exploit that.
And our golden rule is whatever is thiefier wins.
If you want to make a game that looks different, the PS2 gives you the opportunity to do that.
As a programmer, it has a ton of tools for solving all sorts of different types of technical problems.
A big focus for us has been in getting our tool set to the point where the artists were really unconstrained.
Artists will come to us with, they want the game to look this way, or boy, can we have a line around all the characters, the cell shading that we do, or how can we do the lighting models so that things that are bright have certain colors on them. And they have a lot of really cool ideas, and I and the other people on the programming team work on trying to get the technology put in place so that we can, you know, make those ideas happen.
What we were able to do was put together our own lighting algorithm in the vector units and then do the same thing for the cell borders that we put around all our characters. We could get it to all run super fast and have it all look different than other games. That was really our goal from the start, was to have a game which looked different.
It's been an interesting process building a team to build a game like this.
It's been great working with such a dedicated group of people. I've never really ever worked with a group I think as hardcore as this.
It really does require unbelievably talented artists, unbelievably talented programmers, and unbelievably talented designers.
How you doing?
The designers, I think, have done a wonderful job of giving players the experience of sneaking and being a thief, and at the same time making the designs accessible to people so that you don't need to be a super gamer in order to play it, although there are tons of things that are in the game for those people.
We're making a game that anyone can play.
You can't just have great art, you can't just have great code, you can't just have great characters, you gotta have it all.
It's not about just how the game looks, it's about how the game plays and how the player experiences it, and it's all about having fun.
You can make a really cool character, but if he's not fun to play, it's not worth doing.
Sly is cool, he's collected, he's adventurous.
Sly is Sly. It is not a misnomer.
All right. So we've got every movie unlocked. There is no fourth row, column 4 movie, so don't have to worry about that. And all we've got left now is to listen to the dev commentaries. So with that, y'all, we'll get these playing, and we'll see y'all in the next project. We'll see you at the end of the world.
This level is in many ways, in my opinion, the most sort of evolved from the standpoint of gameplay mechanics in the game. We do some really crazy things with the camera, like when you're sneaking around the edge and the icicles are falling at you, where we've constrained the player to a simple decision-making process, being left or right with the danger coming down on them. But because they're so constrained, you can do totally whack things with the camera and give you this image that you don't normally see in video games as a result. It's more cinematic, and it helps highlight the danger, in the case of this level, from the guards looking down on you when you sneak around the guard tower or the falling icicles. It's a nice change of pace from just having the top-down playable camera all the time.
You get a bizarre perspective.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so we were recording the voices for the game.
Yes.
And how weird is it to get the script? And the game it's kind of interesting to note that we are not trying to make a cartoon with the voices. Everybody's supposed to be pretty straight-laced. And you're one of the weirder voices in the game with your blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people are very, very dry, not hammy at all.
Sly Cooper.
Very if he was hammy, we would be in big trouble. But he takes it all seriously. How hard is it to take it seriously or even understand what's going on from the script?
Well, I would say it's actually pretty simple. The idea is that you get a character and you figure out what this character sounds like and what who they are and what they want, without sounding too ridiculous. This is what it is. And you just say the lines like the character would say them. And fortunately, the lines are not too difficult to manage. A lot of them are, wow, press the circle button and you'll jump. And so it's pretty self-explanatory what you need to say, what you need to do. When you get into the crazier stuff about, I think on this other level about, she's making a disgusting soup out of guts and bones. It's just a matter of just going along with the lines and trying to be scared.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you, I don't think you can really use like Stanislavski method when you're trying to picture yourself as a turtle freaked out by a voodoo creation soup.
Well, it's all just the magic of make-believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, well, you say these lines too if you're writing them or reading them yourself, you say them and you know exactly what you're trying to get across. And the job of the actor, and I use that term loosely in my regard, is just to try and make sure that everything makes sense that's coming out of your mouth.
So Andrew, you modeled out this level.
Yes, another level that you designed.
What do you like about this world?
Let's see.
Or level, I should say.
What do I like about it? I like, there's something great about the space. There, the fact that it's taking place, very quickly inside and then outside of these tall, narrow buildings, and that they form both the kind of foreground, sometimes the surroundings, and then actually the background, kind of the sideshow, the thing that you're looking at in the distance. So you're constantly seeing places that you've been before in the level from a distance, from a different vantage point, and I think that gives you this sense of continuous world more than some of the other ones maybe.
That was definitely a goal with a lot of these snow levels, was to give you that inside-outside feeling. Right. And this level starts with something that we thought was going to be really difficult for players, which was you get up to this door and it's locked and there's no way to open it. And there are 2 open windows that you can go in, and it's pretty easy to overcome. This level was actually made before the Paris level, but we had to test it and have people experience the frustration not being able to get through the door to know if it was gonna be okay or if it was gonna be too aggravating to include in the game. But that is a seriously simple mechanic that seems to reflect sort of breaking and entering.
Right.
And the whole level is like that. You're going in, you're going out, you're on top of roofs.
Always entering through windows, doors.
This level has a really bizarro laser grid on the floor.
Right.
And it's bizarro because there isn't a discernible pattern how you're supposed to go through it.
Right.
You look at it and you think, okay, if I study this long enough, I'll see that I need to go left, left, right, left.
Right.
But really, there's none of that. You can stare at it for 45 minutes and you won't see the same thing again because it's all just slightly out of cadence with each other.
Yeah.
So you have to, right off, you just have to make it up as you go along.
And once you get into the middle of it, it's pretty, I mean, there's, if you're really paying attention, there's enough time to adjust to what's going on, but it's great because you've got everything out of phase enough that it feels very almost random. One thing about this level too, this is maybe one of the cases where we learned a little bit about not having the level designers model out quite as much of the actual terrain or the walls and things like that. So the buildings initially in this were fairly tightly modeled, and the gameplay was fairly tightly constrained to the buildings, and they were initially fairly straight, like a lot of the stuff is that we get after after level design has been through it. And so making it kind of funky and unusual was a little bit of a challenge, and eventually required us to go back in and change a little bit of the way the spaces were laid out and everything. But I think it ultimately worked out really well. But it was a challenging level because you've got gameplay both on the inside and the outside of these buildings. So the wall is very, in a lot of places we've got room to just push back the wall in places here and there, and in this one it was very tight and brought up its own unique challenges that I think a lot of the other ones didn't have.
This level was started mostly like the kind of the opening shot where you're coming out of the cave and you really see this big temple. It was pretty early in the design of the level where I wanted to kind of have this kind of picturesque moment here, and also being able to see your end goal from the entrance as well. This is one of the more, I guess we call it pretzeled levels, where the course is very much kind of going around itself. It's kind of using this one art space for the different game mechanics. So instead of having a long corridor that has all the mechanics and we have to do art all the way down that corridor or whatever, we take it in one space. In this case, we go outside the temple, we go inside the temple, and then we go across, and you're still able to see the temple when you finish the game, and it's kind of, you're looking down on it. So it's really trying to reuse the art assets by staying in the same space as you're going through the level. This is another one of our earlier uses where we're going to a more extreme camera angle for dramatic effect when you're going into the temple, and you have the snow falling away down the cliffs as you go, just for about added drama. And we know exactly what you're going to be doing because the gameplay is constrained to that curve that's kind of hugging the cliff wall here. So we know it's safe to take the camera up into a more extreme position than the typical gameplay camera.
I love in general the kind of circuitous route through this whole level. The fact that you get through one area and then slide down to another and then sidle across cliff face over to another, and etc. There's kind of an interesting route through the whole level. I like the firework platforms too. Those were a great idea.
I think this was the first use of this use of lasers where it's really close. It's just close to the ground. It's not like sweeping across the whole hallway. It's creating this, this dynamically changing play area that when you first come up to it, it's like, oh, it's fairly intimidating because you see the glow on the ground. You see it's like this, it's constantly changing. But they're actually pretty easy to play. So it's kind of making things, for more inexperienced players, having them see a moment where it looks very dangerous and them getting through it successfully is something that it's good because it gives them a sense of accomplishment. So that's the reason why it's just kind of this cool thing that's actually fairly easy to play through. And once this one was put in the game, there's several other areas where we decided that we could use this and change the speeds and change the sweep patterns to give it a different feel. And to really, I mean, just make it faster, makes the difficulty harder. So you can definitely dial it up to be challenging. But in this case, it was set up for one of the earlier levels, so it's pretty straightforward actually. I kind of use the fireworks in this level as kind of gating mechanisms to keep you kind of dodging and running from Carmelita while you're playing.
Right.
And also just to have bigger kind of these big events during the game.
Just from texturing it, I know like on the mugshot where she's shooting at you, the colors were reversed of this. Like in this one, Sly Cooper's path is all cool, and where Carmelita's jumping around is where we kept the warm colors. But in the mugshot one, it's kind of reversed, where Sly's running on the warm path and she's jumping on the cool buildings.
Yeah, doing her effect was kind of funny. She originally had a different, entirely different weapon, and we really wanted to kind of emphasize this stun gun feel, and it was interesting to try and tune because the color tones of the world in general were, you know, she appears in several places, and so it was finding something that had a little bit of, you know, it has this icy color, but also this sort of orange center to it, and that seemed to work best across the different levels.
So was it your idea always to have it? Did you have other ideas besides that dragon, or was it?
After I changed from the Buddha one, it was. I think Devin was the one that mentioned trying to see if we could do a dragon for it, and then which was good because, you know, for a Chinese dragon, you have that great shape that you could fold. I was able to fold it and shape it how I needed it for where she's going to stand on and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you put in all the legs and everything like that.
Yeah, so we're trying to think of places on the dragon, you know, on the high and low points of the humps of the dragon, and then also there are these kind of freestanding poles in the abyss of the mist that you can see down there. That just having her stand in as many different places as possible made her feel really like she was sort of part of the world, but always just out of reach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big thing. You have to keep her on screen,
right?
Keep her large enough to see her, and at the same time make it seem like you could never get to her.
Right.
So the
you're
closest
not tempted to leap off the path to your death or something like that.
One of the first drafts I did of it had a giant panda Buddha statue laying on his side where she was jumping on, and just wasn't the same. So I'm glad we went with the golden dragon.
Never got to see that one.
I tried to keep it away from people. It wasn't very good.